We have Grandmaster Tan Zhongyi entering into the game in a pretty relaxed fashion with her second Jeffrey Jiang here. And we have Vaishali who's coming to the game in a more intense manner with her mother Nagalakshmi. Vaishali is jointly leading the tournament along with Zhu. She was actually a point ahead of the field, but a loss to Zhu has now put them in equal first. And Vaishali comes in and she faces Tan Zhongyi, a tough opponent. Tan Zhongyi hasn't had things going her way in this tournament. She was completely winning against Vaishali in their previous encounter when she blundered a complete piece. And this has been the story for her in this tournament. But one cannot deny Tan Zhongyi's class. She won the candidates in 2024 and challenged Zhu Wenjun for the World Championship match. That being said, Vaishali has been in excellent form in this tournament. She would be wishing that she finishes the tournament well in this last two rounds. The players shake hands and we are ready to go. This, dear friends, is the ChessBase mobile app recap of the day. Download the ChessBase mobile app from the link in the description. Pawn to d4 played here by Tan Zhongyi. And Vaishali plays pawn to d5. We have the symmetrical moves. Queen's gambit with pawn to c4. And Vaishali plays her pawn to e6. Queen's gambit declined. Knight comes out to c3. And a very logical move is knight to f6. But Vaishali takes. She plays the Queen's Gambit accepted, but in a slightly delayed manner. She takes on c4. And pawn to e4, opening up the bishop to capture the pawn here. And Vaishali pushes her pawn to c5. This is quite a risky line that Vaishali is chosen because Tan Zhongyi pushes d5 and already seems to have a nice position. But I think it also makes a lot of sense because Vaishali is fighting for the full point here. She has to look at what Zhu is doing. E takes d5 and now a logical move. Bishop d6 blocking the pawn. Taking here on c4 makes sense now. And that is what Tan Zhongyi does. Bishop takes c4. And now knight f6 would not be the best way to play because of queen check. Queen here. And then knight b5. White starts to get an advantage here. So Vaishali very correctly plays her knight to e7. Knight comes out to e2. The players are decently prepared. Vaishali is at 1 hour 32 minutes. She castles quickly. Meanwhile, Tan Zhongyi at 1 hour 25 minutes. And she can also castle here. But she goes bishop g5. A slightly not the best move, I must say, because the bishop doesn't belong here. And Vaishali goes knight d7. Now what she can do is she can go like knight e5, h6, kick the bishop away. And if she can get the queen out, then knight f5 would hit the bishop on h4. Short castling by white here. And now pawn to h6. The bishop is questioned. And now bishop to h4. The bishop drops back. And knight to b6. Not so sure. Maybe knight e5 would have been better. B3. Then maybe just getting the queen out, threatening knight f5. But knight b6, the knight looks a bit misplaced here. In the sense that if the bishop drops back to b3, what are you doing? But actually Tan Zhongyi plays b3. And in a way, Vaishali can now take and play f5. With the idea of g5. Goes bishop f5, getting the bishop on this diagonal. And now the knight jumps to b5, attacking the bishop on d6. So if knight takes, queen takes, there's bishop g3. Goes pawn to a6. And is Tan Zhongyi starting to get an edge here? Takes, queen takes. Now it makes complete sense to come here so that the d pawn starts running down the board. This always looks like a dangerous position to play. But one should look at things in proper perspective. After you get d6, imagine, and I go rook f d8. This pawn can become a weakness, and going to d7 is very difficult. So bishop comes to c7. A dangerous move here by Tan Zhongyi. She takes control of the d8 square. Rook e8. Vaishali makes an okay move. Bishop e4 made more sense to put pressure on the d5 pawn. But maybe she didn't like this move, and she was afraid that d6 could make things dangerous. But take, this was the key line where the c7 bishop was hanging. So rook f e8. Now knight to g3, an excellent move here, attacking the bishop. Knight goes back to d7. Tan Zhongyi's advantage is growing. And Vaishali has 32 minutes. Pawn to d6, a good move. There were other moves. Actually, there were very interesting moves. a4, stopping b5 was also very interesting. But d6, knight goes to c6. And now one way to continue is take. And she does it. She takes it. Queen takes f5, taken by Vaishali. And maybe just trading the queens, queen d3. Because once the queens are traded, these knights will be in trouble. But she goes bishop d5. That's also interesting. She tries to attack the knight. The knight can't jump in because you lose the pawn here. So rook e5 played by Vaishali, attacking the bishop. If take, this seems like black is okay with the knight here. So that's why defending the bishop and putting it on f3, still controlling this diagonal, is the best move. Tan Zhongyi has been playing well, ahead on the clock, 23 minutes ahead than of Vaishali. Position is also better, and now Vaishali goes h5. The main point, of course, was to stop bishop g4. So h5 makes sense, and now a very, very interesting move by Tan Zhongyi, rook e1. I love it because here she's trading off one of the rooks. The more pieces that come off the board, the less are the dynamic chances for black. Rook e8, and now you take. Rook takes. Now you can take with the knight, attacking this here, but then you lose the pawn. So maybe Vaishali didn't want that. She takes with the rook, defending the pawn. And Tan Zhongyi takes a very interesting decision. She gives up her bishop, takes, and she realizes that now with her rook gone, she has made space for the queen to come to f1. What a beautiful move. What a beautiful move. a6 is hanging. You can't really save it because the bishop will take it. So that pawn is gone. Vaishali goes rook d5. And now just simply snatch the pawn, queen a6. Yes, it's dangerous with rook d2, but you can simply come back. And it's a fine position. But she doesn't take it, Tan Zhongyi. And that too, if you look at the time and the clocks, she thought for 26 minutes before not taking the pawn. So I think she clearly confused herself there. And now Vaishali is back in the game. Knight to e5, quickly played. With 3 minutes 30 seconds, we are on move 26. 14 more moves to make. Pawn comes up to h3, stopping maybe knight g4. But now the knight can jump to d3. Goes to knight d3. Very nice move. The threat is knight f4, attacking the queen and the g2 pawn. Jumps in with a check. And what you need to notice is that d7 isn't coming. The rook and the queen do a great job defending the pawn on f2, which was hanging here. Rook f1 played, and knight to f4. A beautiful move, figuring out that d7, queen d7 takes an intermediate check, and taking on d7 is working. Rook e1 played. A good move here. The tension is rising. 1 minute 17 seconds for Vaishali. 3 minutes for Tan Zhongyi. Knight d3 back. She attacks the rook. Rook can go to e2 if you want to fight on. Rook f1 played. Tan Zhongyi. Will Vaishali want to continue? No, she goes knight f4. She's happy with the draw perhaps. Rook e1 played by Tan Zhongyi. They're repeating. Knight d3. I think a draw works okay for Vaishali. But does it work okay for Tan as well? I guess it does. Both have played rook f1. And now Vaishali making that final think here. Because, for her, it's about the candidate's victory. While for Tan Zhongyi, it's no longer about that. She's just assessing the position based on what she feels. Knight f4. They've already repeated 3 times now. And rook e1, Tan Zhongyi plays it. I think both players are not in the mood to continue. Offer a draw and handshake. Look at Tan Zhongyi there. Whoa, she is absolutely tired after that fight. Intense fight. She shakes her head because she realizes that she was better in that position and she could have scored the full point. But kudos to Vaishali for fighting so hard with this She moves to 7.5 points out of 13. She is joint lead because Zhu Jiner lost and Bibisara Asaubayeva has come up ahead. And now Bibisara and Vaishali both jointly lead the tournament going into the last round. Vaishali takes on Katrina Lagno while Bibisara Asaubayeva takes on Divya Deshmukh. A big matchup for the final round, and we'll wait to see how Vaishali fares in that. Today, she passed a big test against Tan Zhongyi. All these years, ChessBase was a software that needed to be installed on your computer. But now, ChessBase has come up with a mobile app. It's called the ChessBase mobile app and it is available both on Android and iPhone. With the app, you can now prepare against an opponent. You can get access to more than 11 million games in your database. You can create a new game, analyze it. The premium users get access to the fastest cloud engines, and then you can save your analysis. What's more is that the app is completely free. If you want to stay connected to serious chess preparation on the go, then the ChessBase mobile app is for you.